Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Manoj Atri, real estate agent with the Remax Hallmark, your host for tonight. And we will be shortly joined with our mortgage expert, Faisal Garcia, and we will take it over on this webinar together. Let me go and get a hi from him. So let me see if I can get him on board at this moment. Give me one moment and let me get the Skype connection working, and that will take us there. Hi Faisal, how are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Wonderful. So I have to give me 1 second, get you to let me get this particular setup done for you. 1 moment. And I don't know how I've missed you out, but there you are. Yes, sir. So now you are here, and I am going to go to you within a moment. Give me 1 second, sir. Faisal, sir.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
Good.
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 Okay.
How are you?
No snow, and the weather is improving.
Two good things.
Two good things. And yes, I mean, like we were expecting some snow and rain on the weekend, but it was not that much, and the weekend showings were very good. How about yours?
Um, weekend was kind of quiet, but it's usually the case when you have showings. Those showings turn into inquiries, and so on and so forth. So, good weather weekends are followed by weekends that are full of calls.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. So it's going to be. I think so. It's going to be a much hectic summer this time.
I do see some activity.
Yes. Okay.
We are not even done January, and yeah.
We have not done even January. Yes. Okay. Let me head back to our audience and walk them through the agenda. And I hope if everyone can listening to us properly, if they can give a yes on the side note, so that you can hear both of us, that'll be great. Wonderful. So now let me take it over to the agenda of the day today. And again, thank you all for joining. And this is what we are trying to do for today. We'll be starting with, let me see if I can get my power presentation rolling. And I'm finding that all my computer is running a wee bit slow, but let's see. Okay, I'll be starting with my real estate monologue today, and we will be trying to pick up a live example today. One of the deals that I have an investor in there, and we will walk you through on that particular one. Next one, real estate in the Toronto GTA area has almost become like an ATM. People are making more money in real estate than even in their incomes, and we are going to go through some of the stats, and we will provide you with our expertise and expertise from the mortgage broker. How's the financial institution doing on that particular lines? And then the third one, which we are facing, the reality on the ground is that the rents across Canada are expected to rise. And we will again review another article there, and that will take us to the third part of it. The fourth part is the main one, where you have joined together, and are rent-to-own homes more expensive? And we are going to go through one of the examples where we will show you the difference between buying and rent-to-own, and we'll walk you through. And as on our previous webinars, we are in constant touch with the mortgage expert, and we'll be taking his expertise as we go along. So that is the agenda of the day. And now let me head over to the first one, and that is how to take you over to the live example. Your say on that, sir, Faisal sir.
Um, you know, there's not a whole lot I have to say at this moment, but as we progress, I'm sure I'll give my feedback in. But one of the big ones that I think I've said this in the past, and I'll just make it one sentence, that the real estate value that has been going up for a number of years has not been adjusted in rental income, rental payments. And therefore now the rental market is paying for it. It's pretty much, and we can go through the entire article first, but the investor that bought.
The main one I wanted you to pick it up on was real estate has almost become like an ATM. People are making more money in real estate than their incomes.
Sir, yeah, absolutely. No, that's not even a question. Every 2 years, you cash out a real estate, you made more money than what you made in your job.
Absolutely, and you are a live example on that particular one, I would say. Okay, let me take.
Thanks to you.
welcome, sir. Okay, let me take them to the live example there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have an investor with us, and he is willing to assist you in this particular one. So I'm going to run you through his program and his details and see if it makes sense to you, and you're more than welcome to come on board with this. GTA and surrounding areas rent to own 400K property program details. Now the investor is comfortable in the GTA and surrounding areas only, and he may look outside, but at this moment that is what his requirements he has given. So that is what we are concentrating on, GTA area and the surroundings. Purchase price maximum he's comfortable is all the way up to $400,000. Slight variation than this particular one. He'll be more than willing to look into it. Property types: condo townhouses, freeholds. We highly doubt finding a property for $400,000 these days, freehold in the GTA and the surrounding areas. But yes, if there are any, he's more than willing to, and he would prefer to do a freehold instead of a condo or a condo townhouse. They appreciate more in value, and they are beneficial to all the parties there. Now, the next one is annual gross income should be around close to $100,000. That is almost like 4 times the annual gross income. Down payment, so if your annual gross income, whether it is the combined income of the family, but there is no speculation that is getting done on this annual gross income. That's what I would like to walk you through. It is $100,000. That is your annual gross income, and which you can support with the paperworks there. Down payment requirement are 5% of the purchase price. That is around $20,000, and that is where is the minimum requirement of his. And rent to own, and this is where he's very, very liberal. It can go anywhere from 1 year to a maximum of 5 years. So very much in tune with the format of the rent to own, and this is what he is giving it to you. Property appreciation 5% plus per year. So that is locked down. And as we have shown in our some of our previous webinars, that the property is appreciating even more than 5%. So you are good. You're locking a good appreciation per year rate there. Future prices can be anywhere from 420 to 1 year, and almost to 510 for 5 years. These are all rounded up, and we can get you into the details how those numbers will actually work. Here is the biggest one. Investor is willing to assist with all types of credit. So now this is also another one which is a huge one, because he's willing to look into it, and we will have our mortgage expert being able to guide you, like in how many number of years he can get you a mortgage. So we have the whole team in there to put this in place. Per month's amount, $2,500 plus maintenance and utilities plus any repairs that has to come into the property. Down payment requirements are $500 additional, as this is a buyer tenant additional down payment, and so the total amount will be $3,000 plus the maintenance, utilities or repairs, whatever they come in over, and this $500 will be adjusted at the time of your final purchase. Investor pays for the property taxes and closing cost. Investor pays for the initial closing cost also. So everything is there in place, and buyer tenant can procure any property on the MLS. So we'll be doing the real estate part of it and walking you through all this particular format. So this is one of the live investors format, and if any one of you would be interested, feel free to be in touch with us and we will be more than happy to put it together for you. Let's go over to our expert and see what he has to say on this particular live example. Faisal sir, how do the numbers sound?
Numbers look pretty good. Two things that catch my attention is all types of credit and properties on MLS. You're not restricted for selection of the property. Of course, dollar amount does have to be in line for the rent to own to work, but other than that, all types of credit to be entertained is a good one, and all types of properties, anything that is on MLS.
Absolutely perfect there. And also, if I can add, where do you get properties for $2,500 per month? These people are paying rentals even more than that.
Yep.
And the additional 500, it's a saving. So I mean, if you're struggling with the getting the credit fixed and things like that, it's a good alternative that the investor has it. And why not get into the market and start getting into this bandwagon of home dream?
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's see if I can take you over to the next part of the webinar. Let me see. At this moment, I'll try to take them over to the first article of the day, and let's see if I can get this one rolling. Perfect. Okay, now let me see. Yes, so we have our first article of the day, and that is GTA home values rose more than 2019 than most people make in an year. It's a report done by Mr. Peter Smith of Toronto Urbanized, and on January 14th of this year. So this and we are going to go into slight absolute stats here, and you will be able to see that it is lucrative to buy real estate these days, and the way the prices are rising, it is not like 3-4 years ago that they were rising moderately. They are rising like crazy. So let's head over into the detail of this particular article. Okay, and let's begin from the first one here. In what was called a rebound year for home values in the region, the GTA saw gains in the value of properties so high that they rival the average annual income for many residents. So the average annual income is matching the value of the properties these days, particular ones. Next one. According to property listing company Zoocasa, real estate market emerged from 2018 slump and managed to earn more last year than the people who would hope to buy them. So that is what they are coming up with, and they have given a full infographic map, which I'll take you shortly, and that is what it is. Like the real estate has emerged out of the 2018 slump, and people are making more money in real estate these days. Median home prices rose by 8% during 2019. 8%. So it comes to an average increase of $55,000 per property, and this is around 94% of the people home income after taxes. So 94% of the public remaining here, making this much kind of a money, is still in this particular price range after taxes. Next, the largest increase took place in Toronto Central, 9%, that is 55,800. That is 96% of the taxable income. In Toronto West, it was 8%, which was close to 55,000. In Toronto East, it was close to 6%, that was around $45,000. So everywhere in the GTA, it has been an increase. They also found that around 87,825 homes were sold in last year, which was 12.6% more than a 10-year low set in 2018. So there have been more sale of homes from 2018 onwards. Average 4% across GTA all over has this is what the company says the home prices managed to average is around 4%. And so that means $32,000 more than they needed last year. So in case if you're wanting to purchase this year, you'll end up paying around more than $32,000. So it is in your interest to get on board as early as possible, and that is what we are intending, and that is what we are explaining it to you. In the end, the bottom line here is that if you purchase a property, you're almost like rent-free, because if you're paying $2,500 to $3,000, that comes to roughly around $30,000 to $36,000 per year, and you could be virtually rent-free. Simcoe County and York Region managed to do the smallest median home prices. There was a 2% increase. And now I will take you over at this stage with the mortgage expert there and see what he has to add to this particular one. Go ahead, sir. It was a big chunk of article there. You're mute.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yes, quite a bit. The properties are increasing in many different directions. The average of the income on capital gains is much higher on the real estate side. So quite a bit, yes.
I was that it is around 96% of taxable income.
Yes.
$60,000. I was thinking it would have been more.
It's an average, right?
You see, you are dealing with so many clients. I mean, is that what would be the norm?
So depending on where the property is, but the closer you go to Toronto, the bigger the numbers are.
No, I meant the taxable income. I mean, do you think that is a right kind of 96% of the public after taxes is making around 57,000? We always work with the gross income, so that could be different.
So when you say taxable of that, typically the rule of thumb is to add 40%.
Really?
Yes,
40%?
on an average.
Wow.
So 55, okay. Let's say let's just say 50 for a round number.
Okay.
You would use as 1.4. The income should be closer to 70.
Okay.
Gross income.
Okay. So that makes more sense. Yes, because that's see, whenever like clients call us, we know where the numbers are generally.
Yeah.
So it is not out of whack here.
Yeah. No, it's not out of whack. No.
Okay. And let's head over to the article, because the article is taking us over to something more. After sustaining roughly 2 years of softer sales and price growth following the introduction of the stress test, demand for homes for sale found its footing in the second half of 2019. That is what it is coming up with. So now I am going to take you to this infographic map, GTA regions where home prices gained matched incomes in 2019. So you can all this link is in the article there. So you can go and have a look at this particular one, and I'll take you slightly through this one. So again, in Toronto Central, so in the city of Toronto, the average came out to around 55%, that is 95% of the household incomes after taxes. In the Toronto Central, again, it was around 55,800. So that is the so this has to, these numbers are has to be seen by someone, that a house value Median house prices are somewhere in the 700 to 750, let's say, and the prices have risen by 45 to $55,000. So this is almost like 77% to 96%
Yes.
of household income.
Yes.
These are like really very strong numbers in the city of Toronto. If you want to add, feel free, Faisal.
No, those numbers are yes, they're high, but they are the facts, because in city of Toronto, uh, I don't I don't remember doing very many properties below 5.
Yes, I mean, $55,000 is an average. Now this is an average, so
Yeah.
that means like it is really going strong in the city of Toronto area. Now
Hmm.
Peel region had an average of around 40. Brampton was around $36,000 yearly.
Hmm.
Caledon was 30. Mississauga was close to Toronto, around
Hmm.
46,700. So that's not bad again. Halton
Hmm.
region,
Hmm.
Burlington again around 40. Halton Hills around 38. Milton was very good, 47. Milton is seeing a strong growth there.
Hmm.
Oakville, I was expecting more in Oakville, but I mean Oakville only came up to $32,000 per year.
Hmm.
Okay, not bad. Durham region. Okay, so Durham region is equally seeing a good one. Ajax 25, Brock 35,000, Clarington around 15, Oshawa is around 9,000.
Hmm.
So, okay, what could be the reason for Oshawa and Pickering? Okay, I think so. It's less supply of properties maybe in Pickering.
Um, See, Pickering, because after Pickering is Ajax,
Yes,
and if you look at both of them, there's a bit of a price difference. Now, I think it's also because it's next to Scarborough. It's got, saturation. Maybe, I'm not sure, but yes, the home price change is less, and Pickering is also small. That's another factor.
yes, that's what I'm seeing. And the number of listings may have been less because that's the only 2% there. And now Uxbridge. So Uxbridge is picking up like crazy,
Hmm.
close to around $55,000. Wow. So that is the next, I think so, area where someone should be looking into purchasing. Is that make sense?
That would, yeah.
And Oshawa being low, is it because of the GM plant and any
It looks like GM plant, yes.
could be there? Okay. Now let's look into the York region. Aurora 20,000, East Gwillimbury around 31,000, Georgina around 22. King is minus 20. Wow, what happened to King? Oh, the price ranges is too high for okay. So King has I mean it's not a bad idea to, but the main thing is that the values are going down. What could be the reason? We'll have to look into this much. Why King is going slightly down? Markham around 30, Newmarket 25, Richmond Hill around okay, Vaughan again, and Stouffville again very less. Quite a mixed hand in York region.
Hmm.
Okay, what I'm just trying to understand what could be the reason that King is going negative. Were the prices too high last year or something of the sort, and now they're settling down there?
That could be one. Another factor is also when you cross a million,
Hmm.
the mortgage rules change.
Yes, and buying capacity of people also change.
Yes. So, not sure if there is an adjustment there.
Okay, now let me when we are on the $1 million property range, I
Mhm.
mean, how much should be the income for $1 million property these days?
So usually closer to, I would say, 170, 180, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Not in the 250 range because I thought it was 4 times the income.
It is, but after a certain amount, it becomes 5. It becomes 5.5. Also, $1 million. As you go closer to $1 million, that is no longer insured.
Oh,
So it's 30 years mortgage.
30 years mortgage and you have to come up with the 20% down?
Yes.
Okay, so let
I
me
can
understand.
actually, as you're working, I'll pull up one of the file I had, and I will confirm.
Okay, so if we are not wrong, so anything below million is insured, and
Yes.
so
Can be insured.
can be
Yes.
insured, and can you get away with 5 or 10% down?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And as soon as it crosses the $1 million mark, it's not insured.
It's not insured.
So you will have to have 25, 30,000 percent.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So if you take out, like, let's say, suppose if the property is $1 million and you're putting down 200 or $300,000, so
Mm-hmm.
again it comes back to the 200 mark for 4 times the income.
Yes, I'm actually gonna just confirm one of the properties I had financed, which was 1.3 million.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
1.12,
Okay.
and the income was just math.
Take your time. I'll just keep on working on this particular one. And so again, Simcoe County, okay, it goes quite far, but there is Adjela, which is again a negative minus 69. So that may be some of those areas where it may be good to invest, because down the line these prices are going to come back.
175 income.
Yes, okay, so you're correct there. So it can go up to 5 times the income there.
Yes.
Awesome. This is good to know. So anytime you're in the $1 million range, and like, see, who are the lenders? Are the regular banks also lending, or you have to go to a different institution there?
So up to 5, you can go to a mortgage lender.
Okay.
Not necessarily banks. Good rate, very good rate.
Okay.
And there is a lender that even allows 5.7
Wow.
in the $1 million range, as long over $1 million. However, have to be 20%. Like,
Awesome.
I mean,
Awesome.
it
And
must be.
what are the rates we are talking here?
We're talking under 3, closer to
Really?
3. Yeah.
And when we are on the topic of rates, what's the best 5-year fixed rate that we are having these days?
It depends on many things, but the last one I saw was 2.69.
2.69. Oh, okay. Awesome.
Give me a minute. Let me just confirm, because
Not a problem. Okay, so now we are almost on this particular one. So Simcoe County and Bradford West is around. Bradford is also doing very good with 31,500. ESSA is also. So when you go through this particular chart, you will get a good idea where things are in general in the GTA and the surrounding areas. And it is good in case if you're an investor, you can have a good idea where to do some of your more research into. I mean, I would like where the prices are going down, it may be a good property to purchase, because you can get a good value there. What do you have to say on that particular one front?
See, research always helps.
This one is a very good research, I would say.
Yes, this would be a very good one. So yeah, I would say where prices are going up, you may want to like jump on it quick.
Yes. Okay, so let me head over to the last part of this particular article, and I think so. Yeah, so that is what was the end of this particular article, and I mean, I'll move over to the next one. If you have to add anything to it, feel free.
Yeah, the rate is 2.69.
2.69. Okay.
Yes.
And what kind of a credit score are we talking here? Good credit score or
680
average?
plus. 680 plus.
680 plus. Okay, wonderful. And you can also get and if you, so it is 2.69. Let me write that down. And once, if you have a cashback, then what kind of a rate are we talking there?
Then it's a much different rate.
Okay. And any idea on that particular one?
No, it depends on the cashback, and I may have to look at it.
Okay. But in the end, the numbers should work. Is that right?
Yes.
What do you have to add anything to the cashback before we go to the next article?
Essentially, cashback. So rate is higher. However, it's only a 5-year mortgage.
Okay.
Okay, the amortization is standard, like 25 years, but the cashback part is only for 5 years. And if you look at the cash flow of that mortgage, the cashback is being spreaded out approximately, of course, very approximate. It's been spread out over 5 years. So let's just say if the cashback was 3%, let's just say 15,000. 15,000 divided by 5 divided by 12, the actual payment, the interest rate difference from the normal to the cashback is covering that amount plus a little bit more.
Okay.
So anytime clients ask why my rate is higher, it's essentially bank is trying to recoup the money that was lent out as cashback on top of your regular mortgage payment. It's one,
but I mean, like let's say suppose if a person can get qualified for $500,000 with cashback, still he does get qualified for 500, or he gets qualified for less?
No, about the same.
About the same. Okay, let me see if I can get this particular article. Absolutely, yes, I have it. Now let's take the opportunity to go ahead to the next article, and the next article is monthly rent across Canada expected to rise, especially in these 3 cities. Now, the reason I'm trying to pick up this particular one is not to scare you, but to walk you through exactly what is going on in the market. And see, once you are aware what exactly is going on in the market, you can adjust yourself accordingly. And we have shown you that if you purchase a property, you can almost be like rent free. So that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is if you're renting it out, make an effort to get into the purchasing power, purchasing a house or a property, so that you can be rent free. So that's why we are giving you the end of the spectrum. And in case if you're stuck with the down payment, in case if you're stuck up with something else, feel free to give us a call. We may have some other alternatives. We may not be able to, you can look into some of our older webinars where we have done with low or zero down mortgages. And also there may be other avenues where we can guide you with this particular one. So let's get ahead into this particular article, monthly rent across 3 cities. These are the 3 things that are making it difficult. Low vacancy numbers. So that means there are hardly rental properties available these days. Unaffordable housing and high interest rates may cause rental prices across Canada to increase in 2019, according to a new report. On Thursday, rentals.ca released its 2019 rental market predictions. Now, this article is by Katie Dangerfield of Global News. So just let me give her the source of this particular article. So before we jump ahead on this particular one. Okay, saying that finding an apartment, house or townhouse to call home will continue to challenge renters this year, mainly in Canada's larger cities. So that is what we are telling it to you, and that is what is going on in the market these days. The average rental rate could increase. Now, this is what someone has to 6% over the year on a national basis. In Toronto, rental prices may surge 11%. This is huge. Anything in this particular kind range is very, very huge. 9% in Ottawa and 7% in Vancouver. Huge numbers. These are mind-boggling numbers. Let's take the expert advice on this one. Faisal, what you have to say on this one? These are huge.
High numbers. Sir, it's a rental supply and demand problem.
It's a supply and demand problem, yes.
Yeah, to the point that Airbnb has taken out quite a bit.
Yes.
And therefore, already there is less And if there is a supply and demand challenge, the price will shoot, which is what we're seeing now.
Yeah, even apart from, I mean, we were thinking, like, see, we have never seen in past 10 or 15 years of being in real estate that the prices keep on going up and up and up. They're not stopping. They're not even going down. They're like holding on to that one rate.
They're not even stagnant. They're not even plateau, I should say.
Yes.
They just keep climbing.
And when you see this particular kind of news, rental prices almost 11%. This is huge. I have in the recent, like past month or so, in this particular new year, every time I get a renter's call, can you help us do something? They may have other issues because, see, I mean, we can guide them with down payment formats, and if they are struggling with the credit, we can walk them through. But I mean, we can't help them with the income, and on the basis of the income, most of them do not qualify for properties, and going outside in the suburbs is also not an option. But the main thing here is even sustaining the rental is again not an option.
Yeah.
There are so many things where landlords are doing renovations and things like that. So entire market has turned upside down from the past 3-4 years, and we are not seeing like a respite on this particular one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head further into this particular article. So you can, again, the links of this particular article are there in the description on the channel, and you can go into and read around it. So again, Toronto 11%, Mississauga 10%, Ottawa 9%, Vancouver 7% increase, Calgary 4%, Montreal is 1%, Edmonton is 0%. So yes, Calgary is also seeing some rise because things are going to improve there too. It's not going to remain there for quite a long time. Okay.
What I find funny in this article is Toronto is on the higher than Vancouver, where the value, the property value, is not as high in Toronto as it is in Vancouver.
See, Vancouver, they came up with a vacancy tax, and there was some other vacant houses were being charged, and there was some other taxes also that came into effect that the investors may have to put down a bit of a more down payment. So those things and all those people trickled into the investors group, trickled into Toronto, and that has also taken into effect here. And also we have that is what I think so has taken place. And there are some 2-3 big companies which are like Amazon is coming, Google is coming, Microsoft is coming. So those I'm not sure about Amazon or what exactly are they doing, but Google and Microsoft are coming, so that is also going to surge these prices further, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. And I am not exactly sure. I was reading in the news, maybe if you have some insight into it, that even the GM plant, someone else may be overtaking it, and so Oshawa may be coming back into play again.
You know, I've heard about that.
Okay.
I don't have any solid proof on it.
Yes.
And yeah, speculating isn't the way to go.
No.
Let's
hard see. Numbers should work. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's head further into this particular article. It says, a senior, Mr. Andrew Scott, a senior analyst with CMHC, who specializes in the Toronto rental market, he says, there may be an increase next year, such as the prices of houses, high demand for rental units, and low vacancy rates. These have to be understood very clearly. The reasons are difficulty getting. There are 3 factors that's what we highlighted you. Higher housing prices, there is going to be interest rate hikes, and tightening of the mortgage rules. Now, we'll take our expert on this particular one. Faisal, what do you have to say on this tightening of the mortgage rules? Are you seeing something of that sort here? Or are you anticipating something of the sort?
I don't expect any tightening of the mortgage rules, but interest rate hikes, which I see it already has happened a little bit, and I do see going it further. And higher housing prices. I don't see the tightening of mortgage rules. I see other 2 aspects. for
Okay,
sure.
and how much has that program coming over, that first time home buyer incentive? How is that program coming? I mean,
It's working. It's slow. There is a long checklist to follow. Therefore, clients qualify, just not everyone qualifies.
but I mean, does it does the numbers make some sense when you are like trying to take 5% and 5% from the government help?
Um, Numbers do make sense.
They are like you have have you done a few?
Yes,
Okay,
I've done few now.
few down, and they are making some sense there. I mean, people are so. Like let me ask you here: if someone has 5% and he qualifies, why is he getting another 5% and then sharing the equity down the line?
Um, if they fully qualify, then I suggest them that's a better route.
Oh, okay.
But
So they
sometimes
okay.
they're falling short, which is when you want to do this.
Okay, so they are not qualifying with 5% down payment. They are qualifying with 10% down payment, and that is when they are coming this particular thing on board.
Yep.
But I mean, even like, are they able to find properties up to 480 or 500?
Yeah. So far, I have seen it.
They have
Maybe not exactly within GTA. Sometimes
sometimes
it's
outside.
slightly.
Okay, okay. Because see, even if you take all this, you're only going up to 480. Is that right?
Yeah.
And 480 is like you are hardly having many properties even in the GTA and surroundings.
Yeah. You're
Okay,
right.
let's head further into the article there. Ottawa changed the national mortgage rules for Canadians. Many now have to undergo stress test. We are already aware of that one. The Bank of Canada also raised the interest rates 3 times last year, which is currently sits at 1.75. Is that right? I mean, like we are still at 1.75?
Yes, we are.
Okay, wonderful. So now, many young couples and families have decided to postponing purchasing a home, which has driven two-bedroom rental rates to nearly $2,600 a month in Toronto. And that is why what we are saying here is you should have a very like sound look into this particular home ownership program, because if you purchase it out, you may be going rent free. So all those people who are like now paying $2,600 or $3,000 per month should very well look into this particular putting your money for purchasing rather remaining on the sidelines. High demand and low supply. In Toronto, the supply for rental units has been growing, and the demand is so strong it has not outpaced the demand. So that is why we are saying the supply is not meeting the demands, and that is why things are becoming very, very difficult here. According to CMHC, the national vacancy rate fell to 2.4% in 2018. That is the lowest it has been since 2009. So these numbers are going up. And now the next part that the article is picking up is immigration. International immigration record has increased by 23% in the first half of 2018. Low employment rate. This was an interesting one. The slight growth in employment among people aged 15 to 19 in the last 12 months also have boosted. So that means the adults are now leaving the family home and start renting. And so this has added another pressure. What do you have to say on this particular one, low employment rate?
Yes. The low unemployment rate is essentially, everyone, and finding labor has been a bit of a challenge. I've heard from some of the business clients that I have. And therefore there is low unemployment rate because there are jobs available. They're not
Yes, go ahead.
As per the Economist, Dr. Sherry Cooper, there are not necessarily full-time jobs, but there are part-time jobs that have come out. And yeah, therefore there is low unemployment rate.
I have seen young adults, and whenever I meet them, they are very aggressive on real estate. They will borrow funds from here, will borrow funds from family, friends, relative, blah blah blah. You get us the property. They are aggressive. They understand real estate part. They understand how much important it is to be in your have this in your portfolio. It is better than stocks. I mean, like, it is better than anything at this moment. So it is in their interest, and the main thing here is, see, they purchase a property and then they rent out with family and friends, and they're mortgage free, and they're living rental free even there, and they're making money every year. So I have seen a very aggressive approach by young adults, which is very, very good, and I'm very like happy to see them, because see, we sometimes are very conservative, and they have a very, very aggressive approach, which is very awesome to see someone, like with going with enthusiasm and understanding. Yes, real estate, yes, we need to go get into it. So we may need to learn something from them on this particular one. Okay, now I think so that covers us on this particular topic. Now, if you have to add anything to it before I start my next part of the webinar, go ahead, Fazil.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so let me get ahead on this particular one, and I am now going to go to our webinar topic, and the webinar topic says, are rent to own homes expensive? And this is where I'm going to take you, and let me walk you through and see if I can get. Okay, this is the topic that we are covering today. Are rent to own homes expensive? I'll give you a brief on rent to own homes and what are the parameters required for rent to own homes or buying, and then I will take you through a sample where I discuss both of them, and let's see if rent to own is more expensive or it is making any good sense these days. Okay, now before I'll just take a brief for all the new attendees on our webinar. What exactly is a rent to own homes? So rent to own homes, I describe it in a different way. You are not buying today but tomorrow. So now it's the simple layman term that I start explaining it to you. This tomorrow can be anywhere from 1 to 5 year term. Now I have to walk you through two things in here. What's the term? Very carefully, rent to own. So at a certain stage you have to purchase this particular property. You have to buy. The buying component is there in this particular one. So it is not that you can keep on renting for life. It is rent to own, and it is a term for 1 to 5 years where most of our investors are comfortable working in. They would prefer 1 to 3, but if your circumstances are such and they may have some more leverage, they may go all the way up to 1 to 5 years term. Now, that is what I was explaining. You will have to buy the property after the end of the term, because I have received calls when they say, okay, can we do it for 25 years? No, sir, it doesn't work. Even it will not work in your interest, and we don't have investors who will be willing to leave this particular property for that period of time. So it is a period of time, and it is for 1 to 5 years with our investors, and we'll take it to the next. Now, what is a rent to own home program? Okay, I generally, whenever I'm trying to explain this particular program, I would like to give you some nuances about this particular program and telling it to you that this is, you have to carefully understand, it is a worst case scenario. Now, why do I call it a worst case scenario? Let's say, suppose for argument's sake, you are not able to procure a mortgage. So you are having difficulty in procuring a mortgage, and you have also are not able to procure a place for rental. So that is the time. So you may be able to then get a picture here. What exactly are they doing? We are addressing the worst case scenario for purchasing, and that is what will constitute a rent to own home program. So you have to comprehend this when we are trying to explain you this particular part. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, this is important. Rent to own home versus buying difference, because lots of people get confused. Okay, if I have all this thing, why do I need to do rent to own instead of buying? And that is what we are going to explain it to you. There are three components whether you are trying to do rent to own or buying, and we are going to explain you those three. First one is the income. So in both the programs, the income requirements are not changing. So whether it is rent to own or whether it is buying, you have to have the annual gross income. You will get qualified 4 or 4.5 times the income accordingly on your credit score and blah blah and the income. Second thing is the down payment. So whether you are buying or you are doing rent to own, in both the cases the down payment is required. Now, in case of a rent to own, you will require the entire down payment on your own. Whereas in the buying format, if by chance your credit score is 700 plus or even 680 plus, you may have an option to get some cash back. So you may be able to bring down your down payment lower in the buying format, but whereas in the rent to own format, you will still require that entire amount of down payment. It is not that you can do rent to own just on the basis of the first and last month, because that is what is the perception. No, it is not. The rent to own and the buying, they both programs run parallel. They are both similar except one format, and that is what I'm going to explain it to you, is the credit score. So now, if your credit score is bad, that is when you're trying to do a rent to own till the time you improve your credit, and then you can purchase that property. So the time it is taking you to fix the credit score is the term of rent to own program. So that is the entire three things that are there. That is what formulates the rent to own or buying. So I hope I have been able to give you a difference on this particular one. Let's head over to the expert there, and if he needs to add anything to it. Go ahead, Faisal sir.
Yeah, you covered it pretty well. Income, down payment, credit score. Income is something that is non-negotiable. It has to, like, you have to be able to qualify for the property you're taking on for rent to own on day one. Down payment, you have to have some, and rest of it will accumulate over time. And credit score is something we can work on over time.
Absolutely.
But those two things, income and down payment, they have to be there.
Yes. And now let's get back to the webinar here again. So now let's explain you a slight more on this credit score analysis and what would be the best way to go about it. Okay, this is what we are trying to explain it to you. If your credit score is below 500, then it may be in your interest to try to go for this particular rent to own program. Again, we have already walked you through a minimum 5 to 7% down payment will be required. An investor will prefer 1 to 3 years rent to own home program, and the purchase price depends on your annual gross income. So we have already covered those particular things, that the income format doesn't change, the down payment requirement doesn't change. The only thing that you're trying to do is get your credit score fixed, that you can take it 600 and above and you can procure a mortgage. That is what you're trying to do here. Now, if your credit score is between 501 and 600, instead of going for the program, we will guide you to go for a credit repair, because your credit repair can be done much faster than you get locked into a rent to own program for 1 or 3 years. I mean, I have seen the expert doing wonders within 2 to 3 months also. So we'll get his expertise on this particular one. Best to get your credit repair addressed. It is faster to get your purchase addressed than trying to do the rent to own home program, and use down payment accumulation and assistance if required. And now we are coming to our main one. If your credit score is 601 and above, it is in your interest to just go for the buying process right away instead of going through all this particular format. Best to get your mortgage addressed. Use down payment accumulation and assistant cashback program comes into effect once the credit score goes above 680. Faisal sir,
All
highlight on the credit repair part. I mean, like how fast it can be done.
I've done, and you've seen it. Some of
Yes.
them as little as 3 to 4 weeks, some of them couple of months, some of them up to 6 months. And if the client does not follow, it could take much longer.
Okay, so if they follow your guidance there and they are like aggressive on this particular one, you can get it done faster.
Much faster. Couple of months is an average.
And I mean, I have given them. There is a small fee attached to your credit repair. Is that
Yes.
right? Yes. Okay. So just to give them a disclaimer on that particular one. Okay. So let's take them to the next slide there. Okay. Now I am going to give you some numbers for trying to purchase a property which is $500,000 property. Okay. Income requirements close to four times for a condo. So if you're trying to buy a condo for $500,000 property, if your income is around 125, you'll get qualified. And for a freehold, because there is hardly any maintenance fees on that particular one, you may get away with 115K. Almost these are rounded numbers. So just to give you an idea, for a freehold you can get up to 4.5 times, and for a condo around 4 times the annual gross income. Now you will require 5% down payment. That's close to around $25,000. Then you will require closing cost, which is around 1.5% of the purchase price. So that may come to around $6,000. And so the total amount that you will be requiring is close to around $31,000. Now, if your credit score is 680 and above, you may qualify for a 3% cashback. So 3% you can get money after closing, and that is around. So initially you will have to procure this amount, and then once you close the property, you can get this particular amount back as cashback. And the only thing that is required is your credit score should be 680 and above, and you have to qualify for that. So the total amount you may get away for buying a property for $500,000 is roughly around $16,000 out of your pocket. Now let's head over to a comparable with regular buying. And so now let's try to purchase a property in a regular buying format. And let's work on some of the numbers here. You have 5% down payment, which I just walked you through. Closing cost is there, so total is around $31,000. And the per month amount may come close to $3,000. Let me break it down. Mortgage is around $2,300, utilities around $300, property taxes around $300, insurance around $100. So I've rounded these numbers just to make it palatable here to get the exact numbers here. It may vary depending on your credit score and other factors. Assuming the property appreciates 5% per year, which is way nominal that I'm calculating it on. So after 5 years, you have the property value is around 630. The mortgage may be left is around 430. So you have around 200K equity in the property. That is what I'm trying to say. The reason is, so if you are trying to buy a property after 5 years, you may already be having an equity of close to $200,000 in this particular property, which is huge. And you should be looking into this particular one very, very carefully. Now, let's see if we go through this same thing, but in a rent to own purchase format. So let's see how we do on this particular one. Okay, again, for argument's sake and for discussion's sake, I've kept all these numbers to be similar. 6% down payment, lawyer fees there, and total is around $31,000. Here, the per month amount will be close to $3,500. The reason is that everything else stays the same. You are paying $500 extra towards your additional down payment. So rental, utilities, content insurance plus 500 goes towards your additional down payment. Now, assuming the property appreciates 5% per year, the option price that you have to purchase this property after 5 years is 630. You have already paid them 300, so you have to now pay them $600,000 to procure this particular rent to own. Now, the reason I am explaining you these two here is this is where you have to understand whether rent to own is a costly program or not. Now, if I show you something here, yes, it will look like it is a very costly program. Let's see why it is a costly program here. If you purchase this property, then after 5 years, you will go for a mortgage for $430,000. Whereas in this rent to own scenario, after 5 years, you will have to go and get a mortgage for $600,000. So the difference between 600 and 430 is almost $170,000. So if you are doing buying and rent to own, so yes, it is a costly program. Now, let's look into further into detail on this particular part of it. So is the rent to own purchase costlier? Yes, it is costlier. If you had the option to purchase, go for a purchase. Rent to own will be costlier. But now, let's say suppose for argument's sake, you cannot purchase the property and you have to stay in a rental. So in a rental, let's say suppose you're paying $3,000 per month, and in 60 months you would have had paid $180,000. So it is not bad if you are in a rental situation that you can procure this particular property. And second thing here, you have to understand this particular one. So you will be similar to the rental amounts, but there is one aspect which has to be also understood. If that comes into factor, then yes, it can become a very good idea to be into the rent to own program instead. But all these numbers are giving you a bigger picture. Now let's head over to the expert before I jump into the next slide and walk you through the next numbers. Faisal sir, what do you have to add on this?
Numbers are there. Numbers are there broken down. Buying amount, rent to own, side by side per month, what it costs, and so on and so forth. There are, it's right there. Not much to say.
Awesome, and I appreciate
and I
that.
don't see anything like it's as clear as it can get, as close to what your actual cash flow will be when you buy a rental, when you do rent to own or you buy a property. It will be very close to what these numbers are.
Yes, I mean we could go into the details of that further, depending on the number of years those things can change. But the next slide is going to highlight the better aspect of it, but it has to be seen, because see, when we picked up the article, we already have given you a very good idea where the market is and where the rates are. So it depends on where you pick up this particular property. Okay, so let's head over to the next slide and give them a further idea about this particular one. Now, there is one factor which has to be also taken into account, is if the rent to own homes becomes a good idea. So we have already told you it matches the rental amounts. It is not better than buying, but it is in the same format as you are renting. So if you're renting or doing rent to own, you're basically parallel to each other. But in case of, it can get slightly better than rental if this happens, and that is what I'm going to walk you through. Is the rent to own homes a good idea? Now let's again go through these numbers. You purchased this particular property for $500,000. Appreciation, again, as we just discussed, was 5%. So after 5 years, you had the option to purchase this particular price at $630,000. Now, we have just shown you that the increase has been close to $55,000. If this particular property after 5 years becomes equivalent to $700,000, yes, now you have become better than rental. So this has to be understood, that where you are picking up the property, those things now come into factors. areas have to come into factor. What kind of a property did you pick it up? Did you pick it up at the right price? You did not overpay for it, you did not get emotionally involved into it, and lots of other factors, and how much you have taken care of the property, and the market value of that particular property has now become $700,000. At that particular stage, it will become a very good idea. Now, this is one thing more I needed to explain you. Option price is the amount decided initially between the buyer and investor seller as the final purchase price. So all these numbers, the purchase price, the appreciation, and the option prices, they are decided on day one. It is not that there is a speculation, okay, after 5 years we are going to do this. There has to be also understood, if by chance the market value goes below 630, yes, now you're also stuck up there. So that is the risk, and that is the appreciation if it happens. So you have to understand the entire spectrum when you're trying to get into a rent to own home program. Yes, that is what I'm trying to say. Only if the market value is more than the option price, so this market value is more than this price, then the rent to own homes becomes a very good idea. So in the gist of it is a very costly program. If you can buy, go for it. If you cannot, then it will match the rental format, and it can get better than rental format. It's there's an option on that one, not guaranteed, but yes, it's a possibility. Faisal sir, what you have to add to this particular last slide?
Yeah, it is the fact that it is a worst case scenario, and doing rent to own, you may benefit from the higher market price, but that is not a guarantee, and you have to exercise your option in time.
Absolutely, you cannot walk away from it.
No, and in fact, if the property value has gone up, of course there is dollar amount on the table, so following the contract becomes that much more important.
I would say, like, I mean, if after all this particular one, if you see yourself in a situation for renting for the next 5 years, and at this moment you are not in a position to buy because of the credit score, yes, you may look into it, because it is matching the rental amounts.
And another aspect on it is nobody is willing to even rent you.
That is true. That is absolutely
that's when
true.
it becomes really something you can actually look at. Other than that, there's buying is definitely the better option.
Absolutely. Okay, so now to the general public, we have the reason that we call this particular one as a smart rent to own program is because we walk you through these particular all the aspects of the program, and that is why and how we have made this program smart for you. Once you are ready to jump into it, we will walk you through these particular numbers, and that is where we bring a conclusion to this particular webinar. And I will now take an opportunity to just take you to two of the websites of the mortgage expert there, and you can be in touch with him here. So let me take them to this particular one first, and this is the website of the expert here. It is faisalgarcia.com. You can have a look at here, and you can be in touch with him. He is doing wonders with mortgages these days, and Faisal, you need to add, if you want to add anything to it. Hi Faisal. Okay, you're mute.
Sorry. All I have to say is that website is comprehensive, and therefore what I suggest is clients to look at what is important to them. If they don't understand, of course, they reach out.
Okay, and anything like how do they apply?
There is an how to apply option.
Okay.
That will get them to fill out the information.
Okay.
Some basic info, but yes.
Basic info, and they can call you, they can WhatsApp you, and all
Yes.
those numbers are there equally for them. Yes,
Yeah.
and by the time I'm going to get the next slide of yours, so
Hmm.
the next website of his is creditrepairnow.ca, and it is getting loaded, and I'm going to take you there. If you have to add, this is his next website, which is called creditrepairnow.ca, and he's quite an expert on credit repair. So if you want to add something to that particular one, Faisal.
That website is not as comprehensive, has a lot of features to it, but it only focuses on credit repair. And the whole process is there, everything, lots of questions, there's FAQs, um, and a whole lot of it.
Okay, and you had given one example, like you were able to take a credit score of around 65 or 85 to 500 and something. Or what was that?
Yeah, 463 to 5 something.
Five something or six something?
I would have to look at it, but give me a second. While you're doing it, I will take a look at it.
Okay, and now let me head over the audience to one of my websites, and let me walk you through here. This is my newsletter. It is called MANG Real Estate, gta-news.manojatri.ca, where you can come and subscribe yourself. And here I take around 8 or 10 articles on a daily basis and curate them from various sources and put them together to give you the entire spectrum of where the GTA market is and where it is heading for. So it may be of in your interest to come here and subscribe yourself, and feel free, and you will have access to lots of my information and also access to some of my other websites. Let me see. Okay, I think so. I have lost the I have lost our mortgage expert there. So I will now take the opportunity to take you over to another of my website, and that will be once it gets loaded up, that will also give you another idea where we are. And we are here on alternate working Mondays. So I will be there next time after the next one. And feel free to, if you have any queries on real estate, on investing, power of sale listings, zero down or low down payments, and bank foreclosure listings, and those other factors. And as soon as this particular website loads, I will be able to guide you. If you can go there, and you'll be able to see lots of other information which may be of interest to you. And once that is there, then we will be able to further help you. Let me see if I have any other queries in here. And I have been getting a lot of your responses on bank foreclosure listings. I have access as an agent. I have access to those ones, and I can send you the list once you sign it up, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through. Okay, so it seems like the website has frozen for a moment. So I will take this opportunity to call this webinar at its conclusion. Thank you, audience. Okay, the website has just come into effect, and I am going to take you there. Okay, so this is the website, which is called manojatri.com, and you can come in here and you can get access to, this was the page where you come and register for the webinar, which we do on alternate weekend Mondays. We buy houses in any GTA area, any conditions. I have lots of investors who are willing to look into this particular aspect of it. We have access to power of sale Toronto GTA listings. You can email me, and I'll be more than happy to send you the bank foreclosure, distress sale, estate sale, bank power of sale listings. And we can also do you cash zero down with some cashback programs and purchase plus improvement. So give me I'll be more than happy to put you together on that particular information package. And Again, we do rent to own. You can stop renting, buy with lease option, and we have this webinar where we are there on alternate Mondays. And again, how much is my house worth instantly? Feel free. I'll be more than happy to do a breakdown of your the best value that you can get for your property. So this brings us close to this particular tonight. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Faisal. And we will see you all on the following Monday. Thank you. Good night, guys. Bye for now.